Hi, brothers and sisters. Lisa here from Glass Darkly Ministries, and this is The End from the Beginning, Part 2, The Double. So, as you know by now, everything repeats. Have you ever wondered why there are 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, the same stories in Daniel, Revelation, the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, etc.? God is a God of patterns. He is the same today as he always was, and he wants us to see his patterns. He's teaching us his patterns. We are God's prophets. Now hear me out. We share the testimony of Jesus Christ. Revelation 19:10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. We are Jesus's portion. We are his profit, his financial gain from what he had to pay for us, our sin debt. We are his inheritance, and he is ours. Ephesians 1:11. In whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. Psalm 139:13 through 16. For thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret, and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. Predestinated. All of this was done before he ever even formed us in our mother's womb. We are called and chosen. We were chosen for this time before we were ever created. Chosen to be servants of Jesus Christ. Chosen to be privy to God's mystery. Chosen to receive knowledge from God and his patterns. Amos 3:7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. We can confidently call ourselves his prophets, chosen, called, and it's almost time to sing. Revelation 14:3. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. We are the 144,000. Revelation 14:5. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. We are righteous in the eyes of God because we are covered by the blood of the Lamb. Revelation 17:11 through 14. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Yes, I know what you are thinking. The 144,000 are male virgins. Guys, Jesus himself showed us that the book of Revelation is full of mysteries. We are Daniel. We are Esther. We are the 144,000. We are New Jerusalem. We have been given new names. Listen what Revelation 21 says. And there came unto me one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the 8th beryl, and the 9th a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of 1 pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine in it, for the glory of God did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. We are New Jerusalem. We are the 3rd temple of God. We are the Lamb's wife, the bride. So now let's use some math. We have 12 gates, 12 angels, 12 names, 12 tribes, 3 gates on the east, 3 gates on the north, 3 gates on the south, 3 gates on the west. We have 12 foundations, 12 apostles. We have a city that is 4 square. We have the length, which is as large as the breadth. We also have the length and breadth and height, which are equal. 12,000 furlongs, 144 cubits. A mystery, guys. A mystery of New Jerusalem, of the 144,000. If you take the 12 gates, multiply that by the 12 angels, you get 144. If you take the 12 names and multiply that by the 12 tribes, you get 144. If you take the 3 gates and multiply that by 4, that equals 12. If you take the 12 foundations and multiply that by the 12 apostles, you get 144. The city is 4 square, so you would take 12,000 furlongs and multiply that by 4 to equal 48,000. The length is as large as the breadth, so 12,000 times 2 equals 24,000. Now if you add the 48,000 to the 24,000, that equals 72,000. Now we have the length, which is 12,000, the breadth, which is 12,000, and the height, which is 12,000. If you add those 3 together, you get 36,000. But because they are equal, we multiply it by 2 to make a second 72,000. Now, if you take the first 72,000 and add it to the second 72,000, that equals 144,000. We are the Lord's precious living stones. We are the temple of God. We are the building blocks that make up New Jerusalem, and Jesus is our cornerstone. We are the 144,000 who learn the new song. And that segment I just did with all the multiplication and calculations was 1 minute and 44 seconds long as I'm editing this video. Another confirmation. It's beautiful. We are the Lamb's wife. We are New Jerusalem. So back to patterns. We are given patterns to learn this new song. We are given patterns to hear this new song of the revelation of Jesus Christ. The unveiling of the bride. Revelation 22:18 and 19. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. Every man that heareth, ears to hear, the holy city, New Jerusalem. So we are the wife. We are the new bride, because like Vashti in the book of Esther, Vashti represents Israel, the first wife, who refused to stand before the king. So the king has chosen us as his new bride. And just as Esther's true Jewish identity had to be hidden from the enemy Haman, our identity has also been hidden in Christ. We are the 144,000. Hidden manna. A new name given that only we know. We have overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and our testimony. Revelation 2:17. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. We are the white, living, precious stones, washed clean by the blood of the Lamb. We have ears to hear. We have overcome. We have been given the hidden manna. Hidden manna, hidden food, hidden bread. Jesus is the bread of life. So let that sink in. Forget what you think you know and open your eyes and ears to the truth. Matthew 22:14. For many are called, but few are chosen. If this makes sense to you, you are learning the pattern and the new song. You are one whose name is written in the Lamb's book of life. You are not only called, but are chosen. You follow the Lamb wherever he may go. Revelation 14:4. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. We are Esther, the wife. We are Daniel, unlike any other, not defiled. We are the first fruits harvest. We are the first resurrection. So Passover 2.0, that's our Passover, or what is known as Second Passover. So let's talk about a timeline of events based on Passover as the beginning and Passover as the end. The end declared from the beginning. So days and months and years are just like the rest of the Bible, a mystery to be revealed. Nothing is cut and dry. It takes the understanding given by God to make heads or tails of the Bible. Some people can read it over and over and nothing makes sense to them, and therefore they still think it can be flawed since it was, quote unquote, written by man. Well, it isn't flawed. God doesn't make mistakes. And if you have understanding, it is because He has given you this gift. So God made time for us, for man. Why? Because one day we would need to make sense of things to know when He was coming back for us. He made 24 hours in a day. So why then did Jesus say there are 12 hours in a day? John 11:9. Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world." We see the light. We see the light of the world, Jesus Christ. So this verse is a clue to our rapture. Here is a day on a timeline. A day divided by the night. The light and the dark divided. The dividing of time. The evening and the morning was a day. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 hours in a day. The first line is the morning, the AM, and the second line is the evening, the PM. So starting with 1300 hours is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock PM. Then the 1400th hour is 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock PM, and then 12. Midnight is the 24th hour. So there are 4 parts. The evening makes up 6 hours, and the morning makes up 6 hours, if the evening and the morning are the first day. This is why Jesus says there are 12 hours in a day. This is a clue. So now let's pretend the other hours don't exist for a second. So you have 6 hours in the morning and 6 hours in the evening. So from here I can continue my timeline theory from part 1 of this study. So let's focus on these 2 parts of the 4. Jesus came to Bethany 6 days before Passover. And this is where my theory comes from. If my theory is correct, we are one part of men, the bride, and the tribulation saints are two parts of men, and the unbelieving world is the third part of men who are slain for worshiping the beast. They are the abomination of desolation. Everything repeats. So we can look at a day broken down by hours like the days are years. Okay, ignore my typo in these next few slides. I put now, but I meant to put no. We know from the parable of the 10 virgins that a cry goes out at midnight. A cry. Mourning. Like to be sad. Like to be sad. Do you see? Sadducees. Okay? God is the greatest poet and writer there ever was. The hypocrites are cut asunder. That's their part, their portion. They are the tribulation saints. They cry. There is wailing and gnashing of teeth. They cry, treason, treason. 2 Kings 11:14. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and blew with trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes, and cried, treason, treason. They are Athaliah. Second Kings 11:1-4. And when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain, and they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. And he was with her hid in the house of the Lord 6 years. And Athaliah did reign over the land. And the 7th year Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds, with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him into the house of the Lord, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the Lord, and showed them the king's son. Well, we all know that the king's son would represent Jesus, right? And the seed royal would be the king's children. And the child was hid from Athaliah, the mother, who wanted to destroy the seed royal. And he was hid in the house of the Lord 6 years. And Athaliah did reign over the land. Athaliah is the mother of the dead son, the mother of all harlots. She tries to destroy all the seed royal. This is a betrayal to the king of all betrayals, right? She wants to kill the seed royal. This is the ultimate betrayal. Athaliah is Mystery Babylon. But, like Esther's identity is hidden, we, being the children of God, are hidden too. Hidden in Christ. We are the hidden seed royal. So the king's seed royal is hid, that's supposed to say hid, not his, for 6 years. Athaliah reigns over the land. So we have 6 years, which that's the equivalent to 6 days. Then the 7th year, they see the king's son, which represents Jesus. Is this making sense? So like Jesus coming to Bethany 6 days before the Passover, the children of the king are hidden 6 years. So we know a cry goes out at midnight. The last hour, 24, Abib, 2024. So this timeline represents the beginning of sorrows. And the other timeline represents tribulation. Now let's recap. So if we have 6 days before Passover, we are looking at Passover, which is April 14th, 2030, because Jesus went to the cross at Passover. And if he went to the cross in 30 AD, 2,000 years later is 2030 AD. So the end is declared from the beginning. So then if Jesus comes to Bethany 6 days before Passover and everything repeats, we can assume that on our timeline, Jesus comes to Bethany 6 days before Passover. So counting back from Passover 2030, 6 days, and we're looking at each year like a day. We're counting back 6 days, and that brings us to 2024. May 15th, 2024, to be exact. Second Passover. Because 6 prophetic days, which are 360, multiplied by 6 is 2,160. So April 14th, 2030 minus 2,160 days brings us to second Passover, May 15th, 2024. I believe that this is the date of the rapture of the bride. Now again, this is a theory at this point. We are not going to know until it really happens. So until then, this is just one big guessing game based on the information and breadcrumbs that we've been provided. So, if this theory is correct, then the midway point of tribulation would be October 2nd, 2027, which is Feast of Trumpets. I'm calling this the last trump, and I believe that this is the day that marks the abomination of desolation being set up. And if you haven't watched part 1 of this video, you should watch that before you watch the rest of this, because otherwise this probably isn't going to make a whole lot of sense, but I will do my best to explain everything. So, from Passover, April 14th, 2030, to Passover, April 14th, 2021, is one Gregorian year on our calendar. And I believe that this is what's known from the book of Revelation as the Great Battle of Armageddon. So we have September 18th, 2020, which I'm calling the first trump, because that Feast of Trumpets to what I'm calling is our rapture date, May 15th, 2024, is 1,335 days. And we know this from the book of Daniel that that's a significant day count. Then, from May 15th, 2024, second Passover, to Passover 2030 is 6 prophetic days, which fulfills the prophecy of the days being shortened for the elect's sake. Then if the midway point of tribulation, which may or may not be the raising of the tribulation saints, the second harvest, I have that as October 2nd, 2027. Everything repeats. So if there is a 1-year ending preparation, which is Armageddon, then there is a 1-year beginning preparation. So 360 days, which is one prophetic year. If we take the theorized rapture date of May 15th, 2024 and subtract 360 days to represent the 1 year of preparation before our departure, that brings us to Sunday, May 21st, 2023. And this makes sense because Esther was prepared for 6 months with oil of myrrh and 6 months with sweet odors. The women were prepared for 1 year before they stood before the king for him to choose a new bride. So, May 21st, 2023 to November 17th, 2023 is 180 days, which is 6 prophetic months. This lines up because from November 17th, 2023, 180 days to May 15th, 2028 is the second 6-month period, in my opinion, which makes the 1 year of preparation of the women. And now I can give you the 25-20 day count, or 7 prophetic years. Sunday, May 21st, 2023 to Passover 2030, which is April 14th, 2030, is 2,520 days. which is 360 prophetic days multiplied by 7. We get this day count from the book of Daniel. It is Daniel's 70th week. 1 week is 7 years. 2520 days from May 21, 2023 is Passover 2030. So now our timeline looks something like this. Because again, God is a God of patterns. So if there's 360 days or 1 year at the beginning, there is 1 year at the end. If there's 3.5 years in the first half of tribulation, there's 3.5 years in the second half of tribulation. If there's 1,335 days till we are blessed, then there's got to be 1,335 days until the second harvest group is blessed. But May 21st, 2023 to Passover 2030 is 2520 days. Everything is lining up beautifully. So you'll know from my previous video that from October 2nd, 2027, which is Feast of Trumpets, I'm calling this the last trump, to Passover 2031 is 1,290 days. We get that day count also from the book of Daniel. And Jesus in the book of Matthew told us to reflect back to the prophet Daniel regarding the abomination of desolation. So there's your 1,290 day count. Then, because we know that the end is a Jubilee year, we have a little type and shadow of a 50-year time frame, which is 50 days. So 50 days prior to October 2nd, 2027, which is the last trump, is August 13, 2027. This is the 9th of Av. This date is synonymous with the destruction of the temple. I believe that this could be the destruction of the spiritual third temple. So, Israel became a nation on May 14th, 1948. Psalm 90:10 and the book of Matthew's fig tree prophecy, I believe, are fulfilled on August 13th, 2027, which is the 9th of Av. Because we know that it's before Israel turns 80 years old, and it also fulfills the days of Noah. Because May 14th, 1948, when Israel became a nation, to August 13th, 2027, is 79 years, or 950 months. 950 are the literal days of Noah. The stones of the spiritual third temple, I believe, are thrown down on the 9th of Av. Everything repeats. According to the Talmud, the actual destruction of the temple began on the 9th of Av, and it continued to burn throughout the 10th of Av. The second temple, built by Ezra and Nehemiah, was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE, scattering the people of Judea and commencing the Jewish exile from the Holy Land. Look at that wording, scattering the people, holy, August 13th, 2027. Now listen to what Daniel says. Daniel 12:7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Well, everything repeats. Jesus came to earth in the 4,000th year of creation. He comes back 2,000 years later. Then all is complete on the seventh day, the 7,000th year, 3,000 years from his original appearing. It is complete. So now I took a BC to AD calculator and I plugged in when the destruction of the temple was 70 BC to 2027, which is when I believe this event is going to take place on the 9th of Av, and the time between is 2096 years. And by the way, all of this second part information came to me in the middle of the night. It was about 3 a.m. and I was woken up out of a dead sleep, and I had all this information like downloaded. It was crazy. So 2096 rounded up to the nearest 100 is 2100, which is 4 years. On a clock, 2400 is the last hour. So 2400 equals 12, 2300 equals 11, 22, 10, 21 equals 9. So if those hours on a clock represent years, 2024 would be 1, 2025 is 2, 2026 is 3, and 2027 is 4. Or you could say 3.5, or a time times and a half, or the dividing of time. 2100 equals 9, the 9th of Av. And there are so many verses about 3,000. And I encourage you to do your homework and take these verses that I give you and this information and then start doing your own research based on it, because you're going to find out even more than I've got for you. So just one verse about 3,000, Acts 2:41. Then they that gladly received his word were baptized, and the same day there were added unto them about 3,000 souls. Okay, so this was Pentecost. And I just watched Dr. Barry Oz' latest video, and he mentions the 3,000. Man, I have a lot of typos in this video a few times that are also related to the 9th of Av. So when Pentecost happened, this is like after they got the gift of the cloven tongues in the upper room, and then all the people came and they heard the gospel in their own language, right? And then 3,000 were baptized the same day. So I'm thinking the harvest of the saints, the raising of the tribulation saints at the midway point, which may or may not be on the 9th of Av, would be like this same type and shadow event. So from the 9th of Av, August 13th, 2027, minus 1335 days, because if we are blessed at our rapture, then they are blessed at theirs. You get Sunday, December 17th, 2023. So everything repeats. If there are 1335 days till the time we are blessed, then there should be 1335 till the saints are blessed. I believe August 13th, 2027 starts a 50-day countdown to the abomination of desolation. It could be the second harvest, or 10/2/2027 at Feast of Trumpets on the 50th day. The Jubilee type and shadow could be the second harvest. Either way, 1335 days prior to 8/13, 2027 is December 17th, 2023, this year. And because of that, I believe something could potentially happen on this date. Now, what? I don't know. So why would I assume something could happen? Because 10 days later, on December 27th, 2023, there is something significant. Wednesday, December 27th, 2023 to April 14th, 2030 is 2,300 days. So there's 2,300 days later to Passover 2030. This would fulfill the days to cleanse the sanctuary prophecy from the book of Daniel. Daniel 8:14. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And notice how it has 8:14. Curious that the 9th of Av is August 13th. So something could happen in those 10 days from December 17th to December 27th. We are told the devil will put some of us in prison for 10 days. Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Now, I don't really know if this prophecy applies to those particular 10 days, but it's curious, isn't it? Revelation tells us that when the pit is opened, scorpion-like creatures torment men for 5 months. There's 150 days, which is 5 prophetic months from December 17th, 2023 to May 15th, 2024. 5 months. Revelation 6:6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. We are the oil. The tribulation saints are the wine. Revelation 9:5. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. So it's quite possible that August 13th, 2027 is the raising of the saints. We are the oil, they are the wine. Like at the wedding when Jesus changes the 6 vessels of water into wine, the best wine is for last. The wine to be tasted by the ruler of the feast. Jesus drinks the new wine. Matthew 26:29. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Because the saints have been transformed. Blood of my blood, flesh of my flesh. So now our timeline looks something like this. May 14, 1948 to August 13, 2027 is 79 years or 950 months. September 18th, 2020 which is Feast of Trumpets, to May 15th, 2024, which I believe is our rapture date, is 1,335 days. May 21, 2023 to April 14th, 2030 is 7 prophetic years, which is 2520 days. May 21, 2023 to May 15th, 2024 is 1 prophetic year, which is 360 days. May 21st, 2023 to November 17th, 2023, not 33, is 180 days. November 17th, 2023 to May 15th, 2024 is 180 days. This would complete the preparation of the women. December 17th, 2023 to May 15th, 2024 is 150 days, which is 5 prophetic months. December 17th, 2023 to December 27th, 2023 is 10 days. December 27th, 2023 to Passover 2030, which is April 14th, 2030, is 2,300 days, which would complete the cleansing of the sanctuary prophecy. May 15th, 2024 to April 14th, 2030 is 2,160 days, which is 6 prophetic years, which would equal 6 days before Passover that Jesus went to Bethany. It also would be the days that the seed royal were hidden. May 14th, 2024 to May 20th, 2024 is 7 days, which would be known as the second Feast of Unleavened Bread, as well as second Passover. August 13, 2027, which is the 9th of Av, known for the destruction of the temple, to October 2nd, 2027, which is Feast of Trumpets, which I'm calling the last trump, is 50 days, which is a Jubilee type and shadow. I believe that October 2nd, 2027 is when the abomination of desolation is set up. October 2nd, 2027 to April 14th, 2031 is 1,290 days, which will fulfill that prophecy from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up. 1,290 days, according to the book of Daniel. April 14th, 2030 to April 14th, 2031, which are both Passover, is 365 days, which is 1 year on the Gregorian calendar. I believe that 1 year at the end is the end preparation, meaning the 1 year great battle of Armageddon. December 25th, 2026, which is Christmas, to October 1st, 2027, the day prior to what I believe is when the abomination of desolation is set up, is 280 days, which is 40 weeks, like a pregnancy. This is new information I'm sharing with you right now. So if the tribulation saints are Athaliah, and she is the mother of all harlots, then the baby was conceived 9 months prior. 40 weeks times 7 days is 280 days. Therefore, the conception is Christmas 2026. Of course, the Antichrist would be conceived on the day we celebrate as our Lord's birth. The spiritual Antichrist, anyway. Everything repeats. So I am looking for the rapture to occur on May 15th, 2024. I apologize for the 1,000 typos throughout this video. It's very long and I did it a lot late at night, so please forgive me. I am looking at the whole week from May 14th, 2024 to May 20th, 2024 for the second Feast of Unleavened Bread. So our rapture could be the 15th, but it also could be the 14th or any of those days in that week. But I'm specifically looking at the 15th. And if you watch the previous video, you'll know that I'm looking at the 7-year tribulation period, like the wedding supper, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the last supper, if you will. I am looking at the second resurrection, the raising of the saints, to occur on either the 9th of Av, which is August 13th, 2027, or the last trump, Feast of Trumpets, on October 2nd, 2027. I believe that's when that baby is born, that abomination. I am looking at Passover 2030 to fulfill the cleansing of the sanctuary prophecy on April 14th, 2030. And thus I am looking at Passover 2031 on April 14th, 2031 to mark the end of Armageddon. I believe the book of Revelation to be a spiritual book of revelation and understanding. And I want to leave you with this. If one day is 1,000 years and one day is 1 year, then the 1,000-year reign is literally 1 day, 1 year long. The end of Armageddon marks the beginning of all things being made new. It's the end of sin, the end of the desolations of Jerusalem. Daniel 9:24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. The days are shortened for the elect's sake. 1 year off equals 1,000 years off. Isaiah 11:8. And the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. There will be no more evil. So I say, come quickly, Lord Jesus. Let's get this wedding party started. Let's fly.